Hello everyone, it's me, Aaron, Professor Thorgy, your guide to all things geeky, and welcome to another episode of Comic Class, the show every single week on this channel where we just geek out about comic books. And hey, is it Wednesday already? Guess it's time to talk about another Marvel event. Oh, I can't even fake laughter at that one. Oh, it's far too real. Yeah, another Marvel event has started, guys. And I have made no secret on this channel that I am fed up with the Marvel events. I can't take them anymore. However, there's something unique about this event. Something that I don't typically see in most Marvel events. Which is that this one actually was set up. This one they actually, planned for. They actually led up to it. It's amazing how just doing that one small thing can actually make me kind of intrigued. Actually kind of make me interested about it. Actually kind of make me excited to read it. Excited is a strong word. I've been burned by Marvel far too many times to use it, but what's the slightly tapped down version of excited? Curious? Makes me curious to read it. We're of course talking about Secret Empire, which started today, and make no mistake about it, even though it says issue 0, it's issue 1. It started today. Typically when Marvel puts out an issue 0 for their big giant crossover events, like Inhumans vs. X-Men number 0, or Civil War II number 0, typically those issues are meant to just kind of introduce you to everything, to kind of just go, well, here's where these characters are at the moment, here's setting up the characters who are going to be involved in this, here's giving you a little bit of backstory on what you need to know going into this. No. Secret Empire is like, we have been building this up for a year, we start now. There is no build-up in this issue, it hits the ground running. And I gotta say, I think it was pretty darn good. Listen, I'm still hesitant to love again, okay, Marvel? You've burned me too many times with these giant massive crossovers. But I gotta give credit where credit is due. This was actually a pretty darn good issue and was a really great start to this giant event. It actually made it feel giant. I'm going to go through this issue, give you guys my thoughts, almost a play-by-play like I did with Inhumans vs. X-Men and like I did with Civil War II, which means time for another Ramblin' video. Yeah, if you guys enjoy the videos in which I just come in here and give you all the thoughts off the top of my head, you're in luck. If you enjoy those videos where I sat down, created a script, and really put my thoughts together on this, come back next week. I'm going to be talking about all those new X-Men and Human books. I'll probably sound competent in that one. Who am I kidding? No, I'm not. Okay, I'm about to get into this issue and into this giant event. However, before I begin that, we have to address the massive elephant in the room, which is that ever since Steve Rogers popped back up and returned, and then he said, "Hail Hydra," and it was revealed this was some weird alternate reality evil version of Steve Rogers that was created by the Cosmic Cube, this has been one of the most controversial things in the comic book industry in my entire lifetime, and I lived through the Clone Saga, okay? So this is one of those things where a lot of people are very passionate about, and a lot of people have legitimate reason to be passionate about. I have heard very strong arguments from both sides on this issue. I'm not getting into that on this. I am here solely to talk about the quality of this issue, not to debate the points and counterpoints on what went into the making of this issue. I have already done that on other videos, and there are other people out there who are making much stronger cases for or against this than I possibly could. So go out there, find those people, listen to them, sit down, think about what they have to say, because everybody kind of has legitimate reasons for saying what they're saying on this. I am here solely as a comic book nerd talking about the quality of this comic book. That's all I'm doing on this one. I'm neither endorsing nor condoning this, but I will say it's a pretty darn good issue, so I guess in a way I'm kind of endorsing it. I don't even know anymore. But okay, that's all I wanted to say about it. Yes, I do have my own feelings about this issue, about what they did to Captain America, but to be totally honest with you, this is the 9th time I have tried to record my explanation about how I feel about it, and after doing it so many times, I have come to the realization I don't even know how I feel about it. I just kind of understand how other people feel on this issue, so I'm just going to let everybody have their own opinions on this one, and I'm just going to move on and judge this comic. So let's go ahead, let's get into this storyline, and that's the biggest problem with this issue so far, which is simply that it's really hard to just jump right into this issue. I really feel like Marvel needed to put out there just a free pamphlet. Marvel wouldn't put anything out for free. They needed to put out something that would be easily accessible for everyone out there to just flip through and go, oh, here is what everything is that is leading up to Secret Empire. Because with Inhumans vs. X-Men, they put out that issue 0 in which they said, hey, in case you don't know, here's what's happening between the Inhumans and the X-Men. But that's been seen in so many books out there that I feel like most people still kind of knew it. And Civil War II had no lead-in at all, but they still put out issue 0 to go, well, you know, in case you need any backstory on someone, this could help with that. So they still put that out here. As I said, this is not an issue 0, this is an issue 1. Things are going down right now. And Nick Spencer has been building up to this storyline over the last year in every single issue of Captain America Steve Rogers and in most of the issues of Captain America Sam Wilson. You actually needed to read those books. If you did not read Captain America Steve Rogers, you're kind of going to be lost because there is a ton happening in this one issue, and I was going through it and seeing every single thing going down and made me realize this is like everything that he's been building up, and not just like a big broad stroke brush building up. Almost every single issue of Captain America Steve Rogers has been important. It has actually had something happen in almost every single issue of that series that was like, no, this is going to come back. You needed to read this issue. I'm kind of speechless on that. I kind of have to just stop and applaud him on this because like, oh my god, it's been so long since I've seen someone actually set up a storyline. It's been so long since I've seen somebody actually set out a bunch of dominoes and go, just wait, this is gonna look real cool in 5, 4, 3, 2. This is the issue where all those dominoes finally get pushed over. That's a lot of dominoes coming down. So let me go ahead and try. Emphasis on try to explain to everybody out there everything that you need to know going into this issue. Basically, Steve Rogers is not the Steve Rogers that we all knew. This Steve Rogers is actually an evil alternate reality version of himself that was created by the Cosmic Cube. Cosmic Cube, which is gained sentience and turned into this little tiny pigtail girl who remembers when she used to be owned by the Red Skull. So she went to the Red Skull and was like, yeah, I hate being controlled by S.H.I.E.L.D. I liked it when I was being controlled by you. And it's like, great, go out there and make everybody Hydra agents. So she went, rewrote Steve Rogers' entire reality, basically just opened up this little portal and allowed this evil alternate reality version of him who was raised and trained by Hydra to come through. And now he's been here with all of this reality, Steve Rogers' memories intact, and he's like, okay, I am now going to implement the big plan that Hydra has been building this whole time. Oh my god, I'm not even into all the complicated stuff yet, and that was insanely complicated. So, that was the setup for the Captain America Steve Rogers series that Nick Spencer started writing. And over the course of that entire series, 3 major things happened. 1, Steve Rogers basically stole the Chitauri Queen. The Chitauri are those weird little alien skull guys that were in the first Avengers movie. They have now put them into the Marvel Universe, and they have made them really big deals. They've been popping up all over the place. Steve Rogers stole their queen, has her on Earth, and he knows the Chitauri are a hive mind. Their entire, trillions and trillions of species race will come storming at Earth in a giant wave until they can get the queen. So I have now forced this giant, I don't want to say annihilation wave, but that's the best word to use even if it has already been used for something, this giant annihilation wave to come at the Earth. So, Carol Danvers, the head of Alpha Flight, which is Earth's major defense against anything from space, has been working to build this impenetrable shield. And she was able to successfully create this giant shield that would block anything. They had their heaviest hitters, their strongest characters try and break this shield. They could not do it. However, right before the Chitauri wave hit, a Hydra suicide bomber destroyed the controls for the shield, so now the shield is down, which means it's up to Earth's mightiest heroes, their biggest, strongest space heroes, to go out there and fight this giant wave. The next thing they did is that he went up to Baron Zemo, the leader of the Masters of Evil, the big collection of all the bad guys in the Marvel Universe used to fight the Avengers, and he has been trying to convince him over the course of weeks while keeping him captive, hey, S.H.I.E.L.D. changed reality using their cosmic cube. You and me, we're best friends. We grew up together. We were like this, brother. We were together. I need you to come back to me. I need you to trust me on this. I'm on your side and I have a job for you. Baron Zemo bought it. He was like, you know what? Everything you're saying sounds right to me. So I gotta get my team back. I gotta get the Masters of Evil back. And it was real easy for him to do that because right before Steve Rogers turned evil, S.H.I.E.L.D. did some really messed up stuff of their own. They took this cosmic cube and they decided, you know what, we've been trying to reform all these villains for a long, long time. It has not been working. Let's just force them to reform. So they created this place called Pleasant Hills, which was basically this fake community that was made up of all the worst criminals they could bring together, and then they used the cosmic cube to wipe away their memories and turn them into completely new people who were living happy, wholesome, friendly lives. Yeah, guess what? It didn't work out. All the villains eventually woke up, they all rebelled, they burned Pleasant Hill down, and Baron Zemo was able to go up to each of these now escaped villains and say, hey, you ready to get revenge? And the third giant crazy thing that happened in the lead up to this is that the Red Skull took his side of Hydra, and I say his side of Hydra because Hydra used to be associated with the Nazis when the Red Skull was in control of them, so the Red Skull is trying to bring that version of Hydra back, but there has also been this other version of Hydra, which has basically just been this weird, like, Cthulhu, old gods, loving death cult. Yeah, it's weird, but Nick Spencer didn't create that. That's actually something that's been in the comics for a long period of time now, so, you know, that's actually where a lot of the controversy behind this is coming, which is that Nick Spencer and the people at Marvel are saying, yeah, no, Captain America is not a Nazi now, he is just part of the weird death cult, and a lot of people are like, yeah man, I can't disassociate any version of Hydra away from the Nazis. As I said, it's a big complex thing, and I try to understand everybody's point of view on this, and everybody is allowed to feel however they want to feel on this. I'm not getting in the middle of that, I'm just explaining to you guys what you need to know going into this. Anywho, the Red Skull decided to take his version of Hydra and he stormed Sokovia, which is that country that the Avengers had to rescue in Avengers 2. Yeah, a lot of stuff in the movies is coming into this event. Anyway, so he storms that country, takes over the whole country, and the reason why he wanted to take that country over is because back during the Cold War, Sokovia got 7 nuclear missiles from Russia, from the USSR. And now they've just been sitting there in a bunker this whole time. Well, now the Red Skull has control of that. However, Captain America came in here and said, yeah, you were just playing into what I needed you to do. I needed Hydra to take this over. I needed Hydra to get those weapons. Now you've done that. I don't have to pretend like I'm obeying your orders and following you this whole time. And then Captain America beat the snot out of the Red Skull and killed him, and then took complete, total control of all of Hydra. That is everything that you need to know leading into this event. Wait, fourth thing, geez, there's a lot that you need to know. Okay, fourth thing going into this event is that this whole time, while Captain America was playing the Red Skull and getting Baron Zemo to assemble his team and getting the Chitauri to storm the Earth, he also was getting Sharon Carter to go to the United States Senate and before the UN and before everybody across the world and basically say, hey, listen, bad stuff could go down at any moment. There needs to be a martial law in place in case something like that happens. There needs to be a rule that says in case nobody can make decisions, in case nothing can be done, S.H.I.E.L.D. gets full control over the United States military. S.H.I.E.L.D. gets full control over every lawmaking force in the country. And everybody thought that was crazy until Captain America stepped up and said, trust me guys, I'm Captain America. I know this is right. I know it sounds creepy, but a lot of people out there are scared. And when you're scared, you need protection, which is basically what this entire event has been about. It's basically been Nick Spencer trying to say, this is the danger of dictators. This is the danger of fascists. This is the danger of putting all your trust in one person because they tell you they can make you safe. This is the danger of giving up your freedom in exchange for that feeling of safety. This is the kind of stuff that happens. And honestly, I think he's been using this as a pretty good metaphor for that. I absolutely understand what he is trying to do with that because, I mean, hey, who makes you feel safer than Captain America? But this is him coming in here and saying, yeah, even if it's Captain America, do not give 100% control to him. So they decide, well, he's Captain America, we're going to give 100% control to him. So they decide to pass this, saying that in the event of a massive emergency in which the President, the Secretary of State, in which nobody out there can act, all control of our government will be handed over to S.H.I.E.L.D. and its director, Steve Rogers. So, that sounds like a lot. That sounds complicated. That sounds crazy. However, when this issue actually begins, and you see the giant Chitauri wave coming down, and you see the new Masters of Evil storming all of New York, and you see the Hydra Nation of Sokovia saying, yeah, we're about to launch these bombs any second now, and everything is going wrong, you have to kind of step back and go, oh my gosh, Captain America is an evil genius. This actually all worked. Every single step of this was absolutely crazy. However, this is the one time in which you can actually sit back and go, this is what it looks like when an evil genius's master plan actually works. When everything goes according to plan. It's supposed to be terrifying. It's supposed to be scary. It's supposed to be horrifying to see this actually happening. It was. Nick Spencer actually captured that. He actually gave you that, like, paranoid feeling of, oh my god, the heroes are not going to win this one. And the sad thing is, nobody realizes Captain America is an evil alternate version of himself. So they're all like, yeah, we're doing exactly what you're telling us. And it's like, you're all just falling right into place. This is going into his trap. Damn, man, Captain America is so far the best villain of 2016. 17. Damn it, I made it all the way through that one long take without screwing anything up. Because what happens in this issue is that you've got all the big A-class heroes out there in space, all the heavy hitters, and they're fighting this giant Chitauri wave. And yeah, it's actually kind of tense. Like, you actually do get that feeling of, oh my gosh, they might lose this. They're not going to be able to stop them. Especially when, like, Hyperion goes down. Hyperion is basically the Marvel Universe's version of Superman. So he is one of their biggest, most powerful characters. So when he goes down, it's like, oh shoot, any of you can get taken out at this moment. And then you have down on Earth, you've got all the other heroes that are available going to New York City where the Masters of Evil are attacking. And it's like, okay, I don't know how you guys are going to win this because you're going up against people way stronger than you. But it was kind of weird because you've got like Luke Cage, Daredevil, Iron Fist, Jessica Jones, and then you've also got like Cloak and Dagger and Spider-Woman in there, and they're all charging in, and Luke Cage refers to them as the Defenders. I was like, when did that get established? I know that they're going to be the Defenders in the Netflix show, and they're going to get their own Defender series. Did he just call them Defenders like off the top of his head right there? Because we have not actually seen that happen in the comics yet. So that was just really weird to me. That it was like, hey guys, don't worry, you all know we're Defenders. It's almost like we are now entering a period of time with our comics where it's like, yeah guys, we don't need to set stuff up. We made a news article about it. It was on Newsarama, it was on Comic Book Resources. I'm sure you guys read it. I'm sure you guys know this is happening. Did you watch the Netflix shows? You know what's going down. We are really starting to enter that phase where you no longer have to give us information in the comics. It's just expected that we all know it going into it. That's a rant for another day, but I did have to say that was a little bit odd. Another thing that I found to be a little bit odd is that Riri Williams and Tony Stark are both trying to fix the giant shield that will block the Chitauri wave from entering the Earth. Why is Tony Stark there? Tony Stark is still in a coma, but he did give his brain pattern as an onboard AI system to Riri Williams to use in her Iron Man suit, but then you've got an old Iron Man suit there working alongside her, and I had to kind of stop and go, so did he just upload his brain into that one as well? Because I've been reading the Invincible Iron Man series. That hasn't actually happened yet over there in that series. So again, it was kind of one of those weird things where they just kind of like expected you to go, oh, I guess this is what happened. It's almost like they just turned to the audience and was like, do we really need to stop and explain that he put his brain in there? I'm sure you guys all can figure this out. Yeah, I guess that's what happened. Sure. Cool. I'll go with it. In all honesty, it just kind of feels to me like Nick Spencer really wanted Tony Stark to be involved in this because he and Steve Rogers have had such a long history with each other, so it'd be perfect to have the two of them confront each other. But then they ended up putting Tony Stark in a coma in Civil War II, so he was like, well, now what do I do? But then they brought him back as an artificial AI, and he was just like, I can work with this, I can make this be a thing, cool, still got it. So you've got those three massive things all going down at once. It looks bad, it looks hopeless, but when it reaches its darkest hour, the Secretary of State calls up Captain America and says, listen, the president is being escorted away into a secret bunker. I'm being told that I have to do the same. The only one who can stop this is you. Thank goodness we passed that law that says in an event just like this one, you get full control of the entire United States resources. You're now in control of the entire United States. And he goes, thank you, I understand exactly. Snaps his fingers. That shield that was broken turns back on, encases the entire Earth in a giant dome that will protect it from the giant Chitauri waves that are going to come one after another, but also traps every single one of those A-class heroes out in space. All the heaviest hitters in the Marvel Universe trapped outside of the Earth with no way of getting back inside. Then, over in New York, while these heroes are fighting, suddenly the Masters of Evil all just teleport away, and Baron Zemo takes this old kind of obscure character Blackout, who had the ability to create giant black constructs. Basically, he was like the evil version of Green Lantern, except that there are actually dozens of evil versions of Green Lantern, but you know what I'm saying. And then he soups up his powers with this ancient evil text called the Darkhold, makes him all-powerful, and then he encases all of New York in a giant, unbreakable black orb, meaning that all the heroes that were left on Earth now trapped inside there. So all that's left are the SHIELD helicarriers that were going over to Sokovia, but then Hydra storms onto those SHIELD helicarriers and then uses this old Captain America villain called Faust, who has the ability to hypnotize people. He starts hypnotizing everyone by using the intercom systems, so every single SHIELD agent on board starts turning into Hydra agents. And then Captain America goes, checkmate. I took out the A-class heroes, I took out the remaining heroes, I took out SHIELD. All that's left is me. I took everyone off the board. As I said, the whole point of this book was to make you sit back and watch all the dominoes that Nick Spencer had been setting up throughout the last year all fall over. Holy cow, he set up a lot of dominoes. I know that everything that I described in the beginning of this video sounded crazy, it sounded complex. I thought it sounded crazy and complex too. Over the last year, I've been reading that Captain America Steve Rogers book going, what is this even going towards? Like, I don't even know what all this is adding up towards. I'm guessing that's going towards something. It went towards something. Literally every single thing that he set up went into this issue. Literally everything that he set up for Captain America's big evil plan paid off. And that's the thing that actually impressed me the most about this, is that we all knew that Captain America was the world's greatest strategist. He was the world's greatest planner. He could come up with genius strategies. This shows what would happen if that was in the hands of evil. This shows what an actual evil Captain America would be capable of. And the reason that I actually kind of enjoyed that is because I have said this numerous times about DC Comics. I am sick and freaking tired of the Superman turns evil storyline and Batman's the only one who can stop him. I am so tired of that storyline where Superman or the entire Justice League or all the other heroes out there turn evil except for Batman. But thank God he's got his brain, because thanks to his brain, he can stop every single one of them. If Batman is always the guy who has to stop all the other heroes, wouldn't a far more interesting storyline be where Batman's the one who turns evil and the other heroes have to stop them? As I was reading this, I went, oh my god, this is that storyline that I've always been asking for. This is the Batman turns evil storyline that I've always been asking for. This is what happens when truly the greatest strategist out there actually goes rogue, actually gets turned into the evil version of themselves. The payoff was actually pretty darn good for that. As I said, I've been asking for this storyline over at DC for the longest time. Again, I think it would have been far more interesting over at DC because DC doesn't do a freaking event every 5 minutes. But, yeah man, it was kind of shocking That was the entire point of this issue, was to make you gasp. It was make you go, oh my gosh, Cap actually thought every single piece of this out, and he put everybody in the exact place that they needed to be, and none of it felt coincidental. That was the great thing about this. None of this felt like, well, none of this would have happened if this one thing had gone wrong. Well, none of this would have happened if this one thing didn't go right. You just got lucky with this one thing, and that's the only reason why this happened. I read this and I was like, no, there's no luck involved. This dude is just that good of a villain. He's just that good of a strategist. He set all this up and moved everybody into the exact position that they needed. Dang, I'm blown away. As I said earlier in this video, Steve Rogers is now set up to be the best villain of the year. And again, I know that there are a lot of people out there who are really mad at this because it's like, well, Steve Rogers should not be portrayed as a villain. I totally understand that, but at the same time, as I said, I've been in the comic book game for a long time. I have seen Spider-Man turn into Dr. Octopus. I've seen Spider-Man get possessed by an evil alien symbiote that turned him into a monster. I've seen Spider-Man turn into an actual giant Spider-Man. I'm used to seeing the hero turns into a villain storyline. I've seen that numerous times. But at the same time, I fully understand that Captain America has a different history to him, has a different meaning to him than Spider-Man, so I fully understand a lot of people having a problem with that, especially with the idea of him not just turning evil, but him turning over to Hydra. That indeed does bring a lot of emotional weight to it. That does bring a lot of problems to it. But at the same time, this is a story about what happens when you trust anyone so much that you're willing to give them complete power, and that this is the way that many dictators rise to power. This is the way that many hate groups can kind of just sneak their way into government. This is the way that fascists come into power. I do think this is kind of an important story to tell. So yeah, in the end, I was actually really impressed with this issue, and it is really hard for me to say that because, as I've said multiple times, I've been burned by these Marvel events too many times. But this was a damn good first issue. It did shock me. It did make me gasp. It did make me step back and go, oh my gosh, this was all planned out. That's incredible that every single step of this was set up over the course of a year. Way to go, Marvel. You can learn a lesson from this. But also, I just love that Marvel is actually going to have to fight a villain. They're going to have to fight an evil team. This is not some weird miscommunication between the heroes, and it's not some random threat that just suddenly appeared. No. This is an actual thing. This is Hydra, the worst villain team in the Marvel Universe, and they have evil Captain America on their side, the biggest threat you could possibly imagine in the Marvel Universe. This is going to be an actual giant epic event. This is actually the biggest threat that I have read in one of these Marvel books in a long time, and it feels like a massive giant threat. It actually feels like, oh my gosh, how are the heroes going to win this one? But I know that they are going to win in the end, and they're going to win it with the help of Sam Wilson. Yeah, he wasn't in this issue, but that is the number one thing that I'm looking forward to the most because I love the Sam Wilson Captain America book. I have been so digging Sam Wilson as the new Captain America, and at the end of the last issue, he quit being Captain America because Steve Rogers looked at him and went, listen, he's a symbol of hope to many people out there. I can't have that. If I'm going to take over this country, I can't have a symbol of hope out there to oppose me, so I have to make him doubt himself. So he spent the entire year making Sam doubt himself, making him doubt whether or not he should be Captain America, whether or not he should stand for all this. So at the end of the last issue, he actually quit, and I didn't have a big problem with that because I knew this was the start of that hero journey. This was that lowest moment where he now has to pick himself back up, and he looks on TV, sees evil Captain America there, and goes, no. There's no such thing as evil Captain America. Because I'm Captain America, and I can't wait for him to pick up that shield and start busting some Hydra heads. I'm looking forward to that so much. So yes, again, can't believe I'm saying it, I'm actually excited for a Marvel event now. So let me know in the comments down below what you thought about this. I'm going to wrap up pretty quickly because there was a lot of talking on this episode. In fact, there was a lot of talking of me just describing this event, not even giving you my emotions on it, just giving you all the setup that you need in order to understand it. So I hope that I did help you guys understand it. And if you guys have any questions for me or want to contact me directly, you can always reach me on Twitter or Tumblr at Professor Thorgy. Thanks again, everyone. My voice is parched. I'm done for the night. Good night, everyone.